been a while since I've done one here, and I've had a lot of people ask me questions, what I use, how I do it, this and that. So I figured today would be a perfect day to kind of show you what I do and why I do what I do. So I'm trying out something different. I use a couple different printers, but the main one I'm using right now is an Ender 3 S1 Pro. Really like the printer. It's fairly cheap. It does a pretty decent job. Okay, so I shut the printer down here right now, and as you see, there is part of my print just sitting on the build plate. Now, when I turn this thing back on, normally it wouldn't do the resume function. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. I don't know if it's a bug or whatever they got going on here, but this is a nice printer. I also have this one over here. It also does a great job. It's just older. It's not as planted as this one here. This one does a better job in my opinion, and I've had to do more upgrades to this one. I'm actually looking forward to selling this one. Maybe somebody can get some more use out of it, and I thought about maybe replacing it with a resin printer or something similar, just to do something different. But the reason I'm doing this here is because I was having some problems with things sticking. I'm also trying to work on my dune runner. I had to do quite a few things to it. So let me show you what I got there to kind of explain a little bit better. Alright, so on the dune runner, as you guys know, I 3D printed all this stuff here in the back. I made a final plate, at least 3D printed wise, final plate and blocks underneath here. This is all pretty strong now. I think I got it filled at 60 or 70% or whatever. Shouldn't have any problems with it breaking. If it does, we'll go carbon fiber, 100%. Same with the box up here, redid all that. Now, where I had the problem is I was trying to 3D print these posts here, because this is a Futaba style servo or whatever. I was having a problem with the steering, and I wanted to replace all that stuff. So I tried to print a couple different ones here. They weren't coming out, they weren't sticking. I had all kinds of issues with them, so I ended up just using the plastic ones that was already on the truck, and I cut the post off on the top. As you can see, there's only one bolt on each side. If I can get down in there, here you go. That should be enough to hold that on for now. But eventually I'm going to have to come up with something different anyway. So we'll just kind of play around with that, see how it goes. I also did a quick print. I think this is at 30 or 40%, just for a button here to hold my ESC button for the Mac 6. Guys, this rig's turned out pretty nice anyway, but that's not what this video is all about. Pretty happy with all the 3D printed parts I have on here, so let me get back to the printer. Now, before we go any further, you'll see in the background back there I have some Overture PLA. It's kind of like a professional PLA, PLA Plus, whatever. This guy up here, the one that I'm printing with right now, it's a PLA Plus. I forget the brand. I got it on Amazon. Pretty good filament. It makes some pretty good prints. For those of you that have an Ender 3 S1 Pro, you know that some of the things on the machine is a little quirky sometimes, but they did improve quite a bit. So I made the jump from that one to this one, and I'm going to keep this one for a while. I'd like to have something like a Bamboo Labs or something like that, but I really don't see the sense when this thing prints good. So it's got quite a few features on it that I like, some of them that I don't like, but it does a pretty good job regardless. And again, this is back to this here. So what we did with the pause, the reason we were pausing is right now I'm just kind of checking layer height, I'm checking adhesion, I'm just checking the overall print to make sure that it prints good. Let me move this out of the way here. And as you can see, for the most part, it's doing a pretty good job printing everything out. There's little blobs or something to worry about there, so that's either over extruding. But let me get over to the design stuff here, and I'll show you how I do things from start to finish, and what I'm trying right now. I'll show you how I start on a program called Tinkercad, which is free to everyone. You can pretty much make your own stuff as long as you have your own dimensions. It's very easy. And I'll just kind of walk through how I made this part here so you can kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. As you can see here, here's my basic model. This is just a little design that I made here for the dune runner for the servo blocks. I've got my hole locations cut out for a Futaba servo. I do not have the bottoms cut out here because a lot of times what I'm finding out is on these conversions that I'm doing, I have to pretty much drill my own holes, so I kind of left that open. That way I can kind of take a peek at it and do what I feel like doing with it. But basically, let me show you, without going too in depth here on the program itself, I'm going to break this apart and show you about how it works. So as you can see here, I got different blocks and stuff here that round the edges and things like that I wanted there. So if you take a solid object here and then you take a, I guess this is like a hold object or whatever they call it, I can't remember now. Basically what you do is you put it up next to it and then you combine them, and the solid object that is left will be cut out by this one here, the hidden object, or whatever the hell they call that. I'm not really sure what that's called. So let me go ahead and break this apart a little bit more. And as you can see here, there's even more things that I had put in there. So I've got a center hole. Okay. And I've also got my little lightning bolt design there. So on and so forth here. And you can see the center holes right here as well. Basically, that's all you do here, guys. It's more of a block block sketcher kind of thing. It's kind of weird, but it works. Everything works. You got a lot of basic shapes and stuff over here you can use. You've got design starters here, characters that you can use, you know, and you can always get more. Or you can go here to the, let me go ahead and recombine all this. When you recombine it, sometimes it takes a while. See how it kind of messes up every once in a while? So what we're going to do is we're going to backspace it, Control Z again, Control Z again, again and again. And we'll get all the way back to where we started from. So anytime you think you're making a mistake, you can always go back in here as well. So let me get back to the main part of the program here. This is your main landing page. And there's, you know, lots of different things that I do here, whatever projects I'm working on, or, you know, I do a lot of custom stuff for people. I have an Etsy store that I sell a lot of things on. Just little odds and end pieces. Sometimes I'll download them and I'll print them for home use here. Or sometimes I'll work on a project like this one here was a project for a guy that wanted a new type of cover on a belt drive system. He ended up going with something else, but I started to work on it. You know, I wasn't really charging him anything for that because I was interested in getting the belt drive myself. Excuse me, but this program is pretty cool. You can either do a 3D object, you can make circuits, or you can do code blocks. I don't really dive into any of those, but when you go to create, you can create one of the three. Now, if you're just looking for some of the designs here, one thing that you can also do, you can also go up here to the search bar and type in, let's say, pumpkin. And you'll get all the different variations of pumpkins that people have made, and you can actually take their version here, copy and tinker. So you can copy it over to your Tinkercad, and then there's their project. And you can edit it however you want. Obviously, if you do something like this and you're doing something for money, make sure you check licenses, and if somebody is able to get you that stuff so you could sell it. Most of the stuff on Tinkercad, as far as I'm aware of, you're not supposed to be doing it to, you're not supposed to be using it to make money anyway. It's more for educational purposes or home use. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind, because everybody's crazy about copyrights and things like that now. I do have a separate CAD program I use at home, which is, there's a few of them actually. One of them I used is Blender, and I have a paid program as well. I forget the name of that one. I use it sometimes, but it's pretty in-depth. I don't really need all the features that are on there. It has a lot of like home building features and things like that that I just don't really need. So anyway, when you get done with this here, it automatically saves. So let's just go back to Tinkercad. This is my Tinkercad landing page. And see how it shows copy of pumpkin? That's that file that we got just by doing the search. You ever want to get rid of one, you just basically delete it. Boom, there it is. Okay, so after you get all of that stuff done here, you would come into a slicing program. The one that I'm currently using is Ultimate Cura. I've used the Prusa slicer before. I've used the Creality one. They're all very similar. They all seem to work pretty similar. Um, some of them have different types of features and stuff, but it's all basically the same thing. What you're doing is you're getting the file itself ready to be printed. Um, so basically, as you can look at it here, once you slice it and get ready to save it to a disk, you can go up here to the preview mode, and it'll show you like all this middle stuff here. That's most likely going to create some stringing. Now I have a brim on this one here to try to hold the part down as it prints, because I have that weird little edge over here, which I just thought that would be a good idea. I don't know why I did, but now looking at it, because it could cause me some problems. But you know, it's a learning curve too. You got to try some things. So anyway, this stuff here is most likely going to create some stringing. The yellow parts here is going to be your flat outside edges, and the reds as well. And from what I'm looking at here, just on this print, it doesn't look like it's going to turn out too bad at all. It looks like it's a fairly easy, simple type of a print. Now, where I may have problems, because right now I'm using a 0.8 millimeter nozzle because I like the quicker prints right now, especially since I'm just basically trying to see what everything fits like and all that jazz. So I'm using those type of prints just to those type of nozzles just to see where everything's at. So basically this is what you do here, and you just kind of like look at your model, kind of take a guess on, you know, what it looks like it's going to print out like. There's different things over here that you can fool with, but honestly, a lot of people will tell you set it this, set it that, set it this, set it that. Basically the things you're going to want to worry about is infill density. That's basically how much plastic you're going to be, how thick or solid you want the material to be. That will be that percentage right there. The type of material you're using, make sure you set your temperatures appropriately, your bed plate and your printing temperature for your extruder. And your speed is going to be a big one. Now on the SP1, the Ender SP1 Pro, I can go up to 100 and something. Right now I'm currently printing at 100. It seems to do pretty well there. The older Ender 3 Pro that I had would only really print at like 50 to 80. So there's differences on pretty much everything that your machine. There's a lot of different types of machines, so that one you're going to kind of be on your own. And everybody will tell you all these different things, and what you're going to find out is it'll give you a starting point, but it's like everything else in a hobby. You've got to figure it out as you go along. It is basically one of those trial and error kind of things with educated guesses. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. Plenty of people will give you help. If you ever need any help, you can always get a hold of me. I have no problem helping anybody out. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like me as well, just like to share their knowledge, because it is a really cool hobby. But keep that in mind as well. So it's not something that you're going to just take off and make 50 pieces of, because the time you get your first couple pieces down, your print bed might go out of level, or there's all kinds of different things that may happen. So it's one of those things that you have to mess with from time to time. It's not like making injection molding pieces where you just throw it in there and you can mass produce them. So I hope I cleared some of that stuff up for you guys here. And just from start to finish here, this is the modeling side of it right here. And once you get this far and you put it into what's called an STL file, when you output it to your printer, you'll save it on a little SD card or however you do it. If you hook your printer up to your computer, you can basically just run it straight from the computer. But once you get that far, you're outputting G-code pretty much for most of the machines. So that's it for this side here. So let me bounce you back over and show you what the finished product looks like on a quick print. Alright, in this case here, I had to switch my build plate, but print turned out pretty good. So let's turn around here and we'll take a peek at what we got. Alright, so there's the print, and as I said, it's just a quick print. and it's just one for kind of prototyping or whatever. So it's still fresh on the plate here, so we gotta let it cool off before we pop it off. But we'll let it cool down here a minute and we'll get it off the plate. Alright, and there you have it. So you have two blocks that have their holes and stuff cut out in them right there. They're ready to rock and roll. Now obviously there will be some trimming that you need to do inside here. Take out the excess pieces. You know, it's just to your liking. You can take a torch to it, clean up the bottoms if you want, that kind of stuff here. But functional prints, guys. And what these are for, again, is that right there. And as you can see, the hole lines up pretty good. They're not as tall as these here, but these are originally designed to have a servo on the top, so we don't really need all that. So I think I'm going to go to the next step in finalizing this print, which would be to slow down the print a little bit to get a little more fine detail on it. And I will increase the infill to probably something like 50% or 60%. And then we'll have a good part. This will be a functioning part. You know, I could prototype with this and just kind of go along doing some testing and stuff if I really wanted to. That's basically what I did back here with all these pieces over here, and I usually save mine. Same kind of thing there. You got just a basic infill there, not a whole lot. I think it's like 10-15% that I printed these on just to see how well they would hold up, and they held up fine. So we moved along to the finished grade over here, which was I don't know, 60-75%, something like that, 50%. So as you can tell, making your own parts is not really that difficult. It can be time consuming, but it can also be fun. You could, you know, make little designs like I did here with a little lightning bolt and stuff inside there. You know, make it your own, and you know, make it however you want. Really, I mean, it's pretty easy. This is what you call PLA plus, so it's a little more heat resistant and a little more resistant to the sun, UV rays and stuff like that. But they do have a UV spray, which is pretty cheap, $3 or $4 or whatever. You basically just spray these on there, good to go. I haven't had any problems with mine at all whatsoever. But then again, I don't 3D print the whole entire car either, so I'm just talking about some replacement stuff, some customization. You got to kind of use your head on what you want to use it on. Obviously, you don't want it on hugely large structural parts, unless you're going to do something a little more, like maybe injection molding or something like that. That would be my suggestion. But yeah, these work great for arms and towers, little customization pieces and things like that. So I'm pretty happy with what I do here. And there again, that's start to finish. So got any questions, leave me a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching.